Congratulations on being here, because here with me and on this channel, things only improve. Welcome to Hard Week, where I am committed to helping over 1 million gentlemen launch into the stratosphere of hardness for free. Now, the results of our all-new eAge calculator have been pouring in. So on this day of Hard Week, let's go through your eAge zone and the immediate strategy to boost your performance immediately. Now, if you haven't already, while I'm talking, I want you to head over to eAge.me. The link is below, pinned in the comments, and calculate your eAge score. Now, there are 5 zones of performance that your erection falls in, and this zone corresponds directly with your eAge, or your erection age. Now, your erection age is a calculated score based on your personalized health and lifestyle parameters. For instance, you may have been born in 1974, so you're 50, but your eAge or your erection age may be 80, meaning your erection shows up to the world as an 80-year-old. This information is critical because this is where you start your journey, understanding where things are right now at this moment. Now, denial and embarrassment have held you back, right? And that ends right here with Hard Week. So then after you go through and quickly calculate your score, I want you to subscribe to the channel and share your score with the world. It shows both commitment to improve and it sets you up to win some amazing prizes here during Hard Week. So today we go deep. Now, I'm going to go through the most important shifts for you to make depending on which zone your eAge lands in, okay? So the exhaustion zone, or the critical edge zone, or the erosion zone, the stiffness steel zone, the prime performer zone. Which zone are you in? And after you discover the critical piece for that zone that you fall into now, and how to elevate to the next level, I want you to make sure you subscribe to the channel and drop a comment below letting me know what you are committed to actually changing. Now, this information is golden. You will not see this anywhere else but here, but it does require commitment. You got to subscribe, turn the notifications on, and be proud. Listen, you have to want it, and you have to be willing to put that work in. You got to be committed. Now, your zone is a snapshot. It is where you landed today. Next time you calculate your eAge, your zone may shift. That's the plan. I just wanted to shift in the right direction. These are not static zones. So we'll start with the exhaustion zone because almost half of you are in this zone. So first note that you're not alone here. There's a lot of other gentlemen here in this exhaustion zone. Time, toxins, and life have left your erection depleted and exhausted. Now, have you ever seen a potted plant that hadn't been watered in over a week? You get home, you take a look at it, and you think it's dead. But then that thing gets some water. Someone in the household starts to water it, starts talking to it, and with a small amount of time, you look and bam, the color has returned to the potted plant, and that thing is starting to sprout again. That potted plant is your erection once you start to give it what you need. The 6 pillars of erectile health, I call these the hard pillars. When you are in the exhaustion zone, I know that all 6 pillars are suffering. But in the exhaustion zone, you need to start here in the erectile tissue zone, the elasticity zone. The erectile tissue is made up of spongy tissue with elastic fibers. Now, those elastic fibers have to be able to stretch and accommodate blood flow. And as you age, your elastic fibers actually get hardened. You see it on your skin as wrinkles, and within your erection, you see it as shrinkage and ED, stiffness lost. With this loss of elasticity, the smooth muscles can't expand to accommodate blood flow, and this happens because your circulation has decreased through time, and the blood flow and the nutrients lost leads to lost elasticity and shrinkage. Now, for more information, make sure you watch this video here, as I did a video just on this topic. Now, in this exhaustion zone, you aren't having much luck with your erection. Morning wood happens less and less. It's almost non-existent. For you in the exhaustion zone, you need to get a penis pump, a nice pump with a gauge. To begin to help you, you need to pump 4 to 5 times a week to improve that elasticity, to initiate angiogenesis, which is the body's process of growing new blood vessels, to plump your guy up, and to get muscle memory and neuroplasticity going. Remember that your erection used to look like that. Now getting it in the pump will improve that, will improve blood flow to help the area and help improve elasticity, and it'll help you with your self-esteem. You also need to stimulate nerve function. And this is where all of this falls into in the exhaustion zone. You want to support all of those pillars, and a good strong pumping regimen will help you start to see improvements really quickly. Now, if you have a bleeding disorder or sickle cell disease, instead of pumping, you need to practice deer exercises or jelqing, which is a process where you use your hands to stimulate healing. I got a video on that too. Now, I am going through your EH zone score that you have calculated at EH.me, and we have just reviewed the starting point for the exhaustion zone. It's kind of the end of the spectrum. Next up, we have the red zone. We call this zone the critical edge zone. In this zone, things are starting to feel hopeless, but they aren't. You may have some health issues to contribute to the score. You may be sedentary, not moving much, having less morning wood, if at all. And you're struggling to get and keep an erection in this zone. You are in that critical edge red zone. It is most important that at this point, you start to scrutinize everything that you're putting in your body. I want you to eat for your erection. This is where you start. Believe it or not, there are clinical studies on food, different food items, and certain phytonutrients or plant nutrients within certain natural food items that can help with erectile function and help cure erectile dysfunction. You want to cut off the body from toxic food items and replace them as much as possible with all natural, organic, antioxidant-rich items. And a great place to start for this week is some of my E-Function smoothie recipes. Yes, I want you to replace the first meal of your day with a delicious, nutrient-packed smoothie. With the proper nutrients on board, you can stimulate hormonal balance. You can produce more nitric oxide, one of the keys to better blood flow. And you can decrease inflammation within the body because inflammation destroys blood vessels and health and erections like none other. So see this link here for a free smoothie recipe that can actually help support blood flow, hormone balance, tissue elasticity and integrity, and even help with passion as hormone levels begin to balance. In this red zone, if you want to move faster, pump and start things off with the smoothie, both of those things. But in this video, I just want to give you the key component that can plant this hard foundation that I want you to have this week for Hard Week. Now, some gents return after the first night of drinking the first smoothie with the return of morning wood. For some guys, it happens that quickly. For you, maybe not. But don't discount nutrition on this journey. It is so important. So I've given the key hard week shift for the gray zone and the red zone, the exhaustion zone and the critical edge zone of our EH calculator. Now let's shoot to the yellow zone, which is called the erosion zone. Now the erosion zone is this kind of transition zone. This is where things can start to go left or right pretty quickly. This is also the zone that I found is kind of the easiest to improve in. In this zone, you may pop a generic Cialis occasionally, or the gas station pill, or a honey pack, or a Blue Chew, and by now you are unsure if you need them or not. So I want to help set you on a pathway where you don't need them. In this zone, you have to focus on the pillars of pelvic floor strength and passion. Of course, in each zone, all 6 pillars are important and all 6 need to be supported, starting with the 2 pillars of passion and pelvic floor strength and elasticity will give you the biggest jump on Hard Week in the erosion zone. Now, some men make the mistake of just doing Kegels. to strengthen the pelvic floor. They see a video on YouTube and go at it. In this zone, you have to put energy into doing dick ups, which is what I affectionately call the version of Kegel exercises that I teach, which are basically push-ups for the D. And you have to stretch that pelvic floor. So you got to do both. I want you to compare Kegels to bicep curls. If you lift weights and never do an isometric stretch, those muscles will build into a ball. They'll just be tight. They will not lengthen to accommodate lean and functional muscle function. This is why you also have to stretch your pelvic floor. Now, the next thing for you in the yellow zone is that you have to find passion and excitement within your sex partners. If you are excited and your brain is on 10 about connecting with whatever partner you have at the moment, it will bring the passion, and that passion will breathe life into your erection, along with finding passion with your sex partners, right? So the pelvic floor muscles support the whole urinary tract system. It supports the bladder, which sits on top of the prostate. And then there's the base of the erection. And all along the urethra, or the P-tube, which also shoots the ejaculate out, runs down through the middle. All of the delicate blood vessels and nerve fibers are supported by the pelvic floor. So it's got to be strong, but it's also got to be elastic, and in order for it to function properly. And when it comes to stiffness, the bulbar cavernoso muscle wraps around the erection like a sling and has the job of trapping blood inside here. And if it is weak, it can't do it. The pelvic floor is so important, so strengthen and stretch the pelvic floor. It will help you with the bathroom runs as well. And then bring the passion. Here's the thing with passion. Give your erection time to respond, and it will. As time goes by, your erection becomes more discerning. It takes more of what you like to turn you on than it did in the younger years. That's just life, right? In the yellow zone and beyond, sexually, you need to focus on what you in particular like, and turning your partner on so much that they bring it to the mix too. Exactly what you like. So the cycle of turning each other on is kind of a game of tag. This is why it is so important to get your age calculation so that you can get started from the zone that makes the most sense for your erection age. So if you haven't, this is perfect time. Head to eage.me to get your score. Next up is the orange zone. The orange zone is the stiffness steel zone. This zone is just one step away from erosion to the left and peak performance to the right. So you have to be careful in this zone. This is a great zone to be in, but let's discuss how to either stay here in the zone or age in reverse and end up in that peak performance zone, that green zone. First, the stiffness steal zone means that something has already started to steal your stiffness. Now, it may be basic age-related stuff, loss in the production of nitric oxide, the gradual decline in testosterone, or even basic toxin exposures. Either way, you need to focus on naturally getting your body to make as much nitric oxide as possible. Nitric oxide is the gas your blood vessels need to expand and move blood throughout the body. As you age, your body actually starts to make less of it within the blood vessels. In people of African descent like myself, an enzyme called eNOS may even become deficient or damaged, and you make even less of it. So you start to make even less of it, and all types of things go wrong. So in this zone, to support optimal stiffness, you need to have nitric oxide surging through your body at all times, and also focus on getting your storage levels of nitric oxide up, because as soon as nitric oxide is used up, it disappears and you need to make more of it. This actually supports the blood flow pillar. Now, the erection tissue pillar, the passion pillar, the nerve function pillar, and the hormone pillar, all 6 pillars are supported when you boost nitric oxide, because blood flow impacts each and every one of these areas. So don't let anything else steal your stiffness. Get that nitric oxide level maximized. Now, here's a video link to dive deeper into nitric oxide. It is a rabbit hole, just so you know, but there is so much that can be done here. Start with the breathing, because your sinus cavity stores more nitric oxide than any other part of your body. That's why deep breathing through your nose while you're in the throes of passion makes a big difference. Okay? Now, the next zone for our E-Age calculator results is the green zone. Now, if you haven't gotten your score yet, or you think your score should have improved by now, head over to eage.me or click on the pinned link at the bottom of this video. Listen, post your E-Age score and subscribe to the channel. Turn those notifications on and be entered to win some amazing Hard Week prizes. It's that easy. And listen, the rest is like butter, because I will discreetly send you tips and tools that you need to get and stay harder. That green zone. Now, this is the peak performance zone. This is where I want you to be. In the green zone, you rarely have an issue with your erection when you are alone. But sometimes it acts funny when you're with someone, and this is just performance anxiety. And in some of your cases, maybe you, it might be overuse. But this is the zone, this green zone, that I want you to stay in. In this zone, you get an erection on demand, and you have very little trouble staying stiff throughout the session, depending. Now, the main thing to look out here in the green zone is that if you masturbate too much or watch too much porn, you will gradually start to slip off into these other zones. I have a video I want you to watch if you know that's you. Okay, right here. Now, shooting your seeds of life haphazardly all over the place leads to a loss of stamina, sex drive, and focus. But also, if you're in the celibate mode for too long, it'll do the same thing. Without ever masturbating or having no sexual stimulation, you too will slip into these other zones, because disuse reduces blood flow to the tissue that needs blood flow and nutrients in order to stay strong and supported. So see, there's a fine balance between too much and too little, and you have to find your middle ground on this. And in this green zone, you've got to be aware. It is easy to look up one day and be out of the zone. Restrictive diets, like all meat for months on end, or all veggies where you miss out on the choline and the vital B vitamins, can destroy hormone function. Smoking and vaping will destroy the lining of your blood vessels and interfere with blood flow. Too much processed food, including fast food, and too much alcohol will also eventually become a problem. They can destroy your erectile tissue, destroy blood flow, destroy hormonal balance, and dopamine levels. The dopamine levels impact passion. So for you in the green zone, I want you to dive deep into eating foods which help and not hurt your erection, and avoiding ones that will. Here is a video I want you to watch for that. Now, how to know if you're on your way out of the green zone is to stand up, look down at your shoes, and if you can see them, you are solidly planted in the green zone. If you cannot, or you can only see part of those shoes, I want you to start with the things I've mentioned for you to minimize, for you to get rid of. This is Hard Week, so let's go. Your goal has to be to support each and every one of these pillars every single day. Then this stuff becomes how you live. It is, in fact, a lifestyle, and I am so excited that I'm part of your journey through it. So subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. Turn your notifications on so that you can stay up on this information and on this hard journey, and head over to eage.me to get your updated E-Age score. I'm Dr. Rachel. I love you. Boom! I'm out.